What's up, guys? Doc Matt here, and welcome back to Guild Wars 2. There's no actual episode to give you guys tonight, simply because, well, I've still trying to find a freaking group for the, dungeons, and, what I decided to do was give you guys a,
I like the way this looks.
kind of like, a supplementary, a supplementary dungeon guide, I guess you can say. But basically, the dungeons kind of go along with your character's personal story in a way. So that's kind of what I want to do, is give you guys that kind of thing. Give you guys that kind of thing, stuff like that, and go from there. That's kind of what I want to do. And also this episode kind of want to talks about, I kind of want to talk about things that are in Guild Wars 2, things that were in Guild Wars 1, and just talk about things that I'd like to see come to Guild Wars 2. For those of you who do know, or who do play Guild Wars 2, you guys know there's the first expansion's coming out here, Heart of Thorns. It adds in a new character class, the Revenant, which I think is really freaking cool. But what I'd like to see is like new races, something something new to add. Ow! I just fell on my face. Something new to add to the game. Something a little bit different, things like that. But yeah, that is what I'd like to see. I'd like to see some, some kind of new races. So, what could Guild Wars add to the game as far as new races? I mean, for those of you who are familiar with Guild Wars 1, you'd know that about the Tenchu, the Centaur, things like that, and just different races like that, races that have been fleshed out. Guild Wars wouldn't have to do much to add them to the game, especially the Tenchu. The Tenchu are basically a race of bipedal bird people, I guess you can say. Mainly introduced in Guild Wars 1 Factions, the first expansion for the game. And I don't know, the Tenchu would actually be something I'd like to see. Mainly because, like I said, their race is already fleshed out. They've got a history, they've got some background. And game mechanics wise, they do have animations for the different weapon styles, things like that. So yeah, I think the Tenchu would be really cool. And plus, from a historical standpoint, they do have a city here in Guild Wars 2 on the mainland of Tyria, where Guild Wars 2 takes place. So I don't see why that would be a problem too much, to be honest with you. Yeah, it's just my personal opinion. I could be very well wrong. I could be, whatever. But that is something I would like to see. Just basically a race that's already fleshed out. The Centaurs, they do have a lot of the animations required for a playable race. In the game, in both Guild Wars 1 and Guild Wars 2, you do see them wielding different styles of weapons, be it, bow and arrow, sword and shield, spears, just different stuff like that. But it would be cool to see, oh, what is that? Yeah, it would be different, it would be cool to see something different. Just different style of race, different style of gameplay, and You know, just something like that. You know, get away from bipedal creatures and actually go for something, you know, different. That is kind of what I'd like to see. I don't know about other players and what they'd like to see, but I'm not going that way because there's a ton of branded there, and branded are not fun. So anyway, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff I'd like to see added to Guild Wars 2. Whether or not that kind of thing actually shows up will be a different story. Yeah, with that being said, let's talk about the different races that are in the whole Guild Wars story, so to speak. I mean, you've got the dwarves, you've got, you know, things like that. The dwarves are pretty much a no-go, simply because their race is essentially extinct. The dwarves are extinct. The only remaining dwarf you have on the surface of the world, on the surface of Tyria, in Guild Wars 2 is Ogden Stonehealer. And he is, by all means, I mean, he's made out of stone, just like all the other dwarves. And if you do play Guild Wars 2 and you've spoken to him, things like that, you got his story, you'll know that homeboy is, I mean, Ogden Stonehealer, he was essentially forced to become made out of stone, just like the rest of the dwarves. For those of you who have followed or do know the whole Guild Wars storyline, you'll know that the dwarves turn themselves to stone on purpose to basically fight the Great Destroyer, who was the lieutenant of the a lieutenant for the Elder Dragon Primordius, who's essentially a fire dragon. So yeah, I mean, they all turned themselves to stone. They went down below the earth, you know, the surface of the world, and they fought the forces of Primordius, who is the Elder Dragon of fire. Hey, all the power to him. That's what I say. You know, I have no qualms with that whatsoever. But right now, I'm just kind of running around, just unlocking some of these points of interest and some of these checkpoints and stuff like that. I'm not doing any quests right now. I'm just basically looking for there's a dungeon here I gotta unlock. Oh, why is this guy down? Let's unlock him. Let's pick him back up. Just to be helpful. You know, we got some ogres here helping out. So yeah, let's revive these guys. There we go. All right, revive him. Come on, revive him. There we go. So like I said, the Tengu and the Centaurs, yeah, definitely. In Guild Wars 2, you get a little bit more storyline and fleshing out for the race called the Skrit, which are kind of like mouse people, rat people type thing. Individually, they're stupid as hell, but when you get them in a big group, they become really smart. It's like a whole it's kind of like a hive mind type thing, which I think is really cool. So a lot of interesting stuff there. It could be an interesting storyline to play. Could be an interesting character to play, which I think would be really freaking cool. So, I mean, the Skrit, yes. There was a race in the original Guild Wars called the Marganites, who were followers of the god, the dark god Abaddon, who is the main villain from Guild Wars Nightfall, and I think it would be interesting to just kind of get more fleshing out from them. I think, just to see what they can possibly do as far as a race, a playable race, which I think would be kind of interesting. Yeah, but I think that'd be kind of interesting to see something from them. I'd like to see, you know, something from the Morganites, or have the Morganites come back, I guess. Maybe, possibly, have the Morganites come back. I mean, they were a pain in the balls in Guild Wars. Guild Wars 1, Nightfall. The Morganites were a pain in the balls. I mean, they were tough. They did pose a lot of issues for your character. Then there's the Grawl, the monkey people. Basically, the Grawl will worship anything they see that could possibly be a god. They're not that intelligent, and you know, like I said, they're freaking monkeys. Okay, they're not that intelligent. So, you know, just monkey people. That's what they are, monkey people. They are straight up monkey people. That's all they are, monkey people. Let's see what else. The Mersat. These guys were insanely tough in the original Guild Wars. They had a skill that could possibly it could kill you in one hit. It could legit kill you in one hit. It was called like some kind of agony or something like that. And yeah, I mean it could wreck you in like one hit if you weren't careful. That is something I would like to see. I don't know. I would like to see the Mersat and stuff like that come back, just to see what happens. You know, just to see if there's like some kind of like, what is this? A Dredge Manifesto. Okay, interesting. The Dredge. Now that they just got brought up. Yeah, let's look at the Dredge. They're a race who they hate the dwarves, like legitimately hate everything to do with dwarves. Because why? The Stone Summit dwarves actually like enslaved them. Like legitimately enslaved them. I mean, they were persecuted, enslaved, the whole 9 yards. Which, you know, it sucks for them. At the same time, I mean, in Guild Wars 2, you're trying to find information from the dwarves, which the Dredge are legitimately destroying every time they come across it. So, you know, coming across any kind of dwarven structures on the surface of the world is like next to impossible. Which sucks. But, you know, hey, it is what it is. I think if I was a race that was, you know, enslaved by another race, I think I'd do the same, same damn thing. The Crate and the Naga, the snake-like people, that you meet up with some of the in some of the other missions in Guild Wars 1 or Guild Wars 2, I should say, and you actually fight them in Guild Wars 1 and Guild Wars 2. I mean, the Crate have been around for a long time. I mean, and they have also had like different kind of weapons configurations, different kind of animations, things like that. So I could see the Crate being a playable race. They're really not that fast unless they're underwater. which kind of sucks. So while I'm on the subject of new like content to add to like Guild Wars 2, they do have a lot of new a lot of new well, one new class coming, or one new profession coming to Guild Wars 1 or Guild Wars 2 here, and that's the Revenant. For those of you who do know about Guild Wars 2 and the different classes and stuff like that, the Revenant is kind of like a dark, I guess you can say, dark, a dark guardian, I guess you can call him. Basically, the Revenant is a lot of darker skills, a lot of things like that. I believe he has a couple skills from Shiro, from Guild Wars Factions, who was the final boss of Guild Wars Factions. And I kind of think that's kind of cool, actually. Shiro, for the most part, I mean, he was an asshole in Guild Wars 1 Factions. He was a straight up asshole. I really enjoy kicking his ass. Really enjoy kicking his ass. But yeah, Shiro was fun to, it's just fun to like beat his ass all over the place. Yeah, pissed off, Broodmother. Okay, so now we're underwater. Okay, excellent. Can I go this way? Nope, I can't go that way. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff from Guild Wars 1 that kind of filters its way into Guild Wars 2, which I think is really freaking cool. Just from a like a nostalgia standpoint. Would I like to see more? Yeah, I kind of would, actually. I would like to see a lot more, but whether or not that's going to happen is a whole nother story. Like, for those of you who are familiar with Guild Wars 1, Guild Wars 1 gave us the, no. Guild Wars 1 gave us, the Monk, the Ranger, the Warrior, the Necromancer, the Mesmer, the Elementalist, okay? I think that's the whole list. Let me double check here. Let's see, yeah. Now, the only thing that didn't make a return in Guild Wars 2 was the Monk. I think that's because the Monk, I think, was replaced by the Guardian. And I know a lot of guys who played Guild Wars 1 who took Warrior as their main profession, and yeah, they took Warrior as their main profession, and like Monk is their secondary. Meanwhile, guys like me, I took Warrior as my main profession, and ow, dick. Like, I took Warrior as my main profession and Ranger as my secondary profession, because of the simple fact that, hey, I can I can call upon a pet to help me out and not think twice about it. So I'd have an extra set of teeth or extra set of claws to help me out when I needed it. I never really got into like Warrior Monk. So I really sucked as a monk. I didn't like play well with others, I guess you can say. Kind of my bad on that one. But I did rather enjoy playing as a Warrior Ranger, and never got into Mesmer on Guild Wars 1. Mesmer, I just found is like a difficult class to play. Which sucks to be me, but So let's follow these guys in. Fuck you, fire turret. So yeah, I mean, I like the idea of playing as the main antagonists from Guild Wars 1. Prophecies, the Char. I do enjoy that prospect of it. I really do. It just kind of adds like a whole new dimension to the game. Like, hey, you know, you get to play as the bad guys from Guild Wars 1. Hey, that's really cool. I like that idea. Awesome. So, I mean, they have, for Guild Wars 2, I mean, they added in all new... Hey, come on now. They added in all new freaking, classes for Guild Wars 2. And, you know, so you got the Thief, you've got the Ranger, you know, with the exception of the Monk, you have all the professions from Guild Wars 1, which I think is really cool. I mean, I like that idea. In addition to that, you also have the Guardian. You have so you got the Guardian. You've got the Engineer, the Thief, and now they added in the Revenant, which, like I said, is kind of like a dark, a freaking dark, a dark guardian of some kind. So, I mean, the Revenant looks really cool from the Heart of Thorns, from the videos that I've watched from the, you know, all that stuff. So I'm really curious to see how the Guardian is gonna, or the Revenant's gonna play out. And where did the other two people go? So yeah, I mean, with that being said, I'm really looking forward to see how the Revenant's gonna play out. So, because I will be getting Heart of Thorns, just to see how it, you know, pans out, see how it plays out, things like that. And why you hit me in my ass, dude? I'm just gonna fuck your ass up now. Take a nap. Hey, get out of here and find the freaking dungeon I'm looking for. Ugh. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff I'd love to see introduced to Guild Wars 2. Stuff that you didn't have access to in Guild Wars 1. You know, stuff that like the game engine just didn't have, or like, you know, they didn't want to add into the storyline. And some of that just happens to be like, you know, character progression, character, you know, professions, racials, you know, different races, things like that. So like I said, I love to play as a Tengu, and you know, play as the bird people from the first game. There we go. We got the Scorched Lands. So let's get out of here.
My strength increases.
Let's see if I can find that the next dungeon here, because it looks like my allies kind of ran off on me here. But I mean, there's lots of stuff I'd love to see in Guild Wars 2 that were in Guild Wars 1, or could have been in Guild Wars 1 but weren't, you know, just things like that. Let you guys fight my worm. Piss off, homie. But I mean, yeah, I mean, there's lots of stuff I'd love to see, and whether or not something like that comes in, I don't know, but like I said, it would be interesting to see if just something like that could pop up, will pop up. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Would I like to see certain things? Oh yeah, you better believe it. Well, it's good to see the ogres are still alive. Where am I going anyway? I want to go this way through Victium Moors. But I mean, like I said, the dwarves, they're out. I mean, there are no dwarves left in the world. Legit. I mean, there are legitimately no dwarves left in the world. They're all turned to stone. They've moved on. They've gone to a better place, I guess. Some of the other races or classes I'd like to see, like Guild Wars factions, introduced the ritualist and the assassin. I'd kind of like to see that in Guild Wars 1 or Guild Wars 2. The assassin anyway. I mean, you have the thief, I guess, and like the thief plays a lot differently than the rest of the races, I guess you could say. Which I think is interesting. I would like to see more. Believe me, I would like to see more. But with the Heart of Thorns also introduces like expert level
Extra damage.
like or specialized classes. That's what I'm looking for. That's the word I'm looking for. More specialized classes, and honestly, I think that's really cool. We gotta go this way. But yeah, so that is something I would really like to see. Oh, that was a landmine. You guys can fight my worm. That sounds dirty. I mean, yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of stuff I'd like to see added to Guild Wars 2. Now that they have the engine for it, you know, the game engine for it, things like that, I would like to see it, just to see, and just to see something a little bit different. Like I said, Guild Wars factions and Guild Wars Nightfall both added new classes to the game, new professions. I said Nightfall added in the assassin and the ritualist. Nightfall added in the dervish and the paragon. And to be honest with you, I could be really wrong on this, but the Guardian kind of reminds me of a dervish, a paragon, and a monk. All three of those classes, they kind of buff their team. They could heal their team and things like that, which I think is really freaking cool. Yeah, I mean that's exactly what the Guardian does. And the Guardian buffs his team, heals his team, defends his team. So yeah, I mean, I would like to see something like that added in, you know, especially the dervish. I mean, I loved playing as a dervish in Guild Wars, you know, Nightfall. The dervish is just a whirling massive destruction. I mean, their scythe and everything, and I apologize for the lag. I'm currently downloading something on Steam. Yeah, like I said, I mean, the dervish is like a string of destruction. Just spinning around. They got like freaking scythes. They got... And that's a brood mother. But this continues on. Does it? Yes, it does. No, it does not. Go away, river drakes. I don't want to play with you. Wow, okay. I'm lagging big time. And the assassin, like I said, is... The thief in Guild Wars 2 is pretty much the assassin from Guild Wars 1. The assassin slash something else. The Paragon in Nightfall relied on shouts and anthems and things like that. I think anthems are they're called, but I know they definitely like relied on shouts to buff their team and things like that. So, what is this? Maybe that's what I want. So, yeah, I mean, like, as far as races and things like that go, I mean, there's a lot of races I would love to see in Guild Wars 2. And, like I said, Centaurs, Tengu, Skrit, maybe the Dredge. Flesh out the Dredge a little bit more. Maybe the Crate and Naga. You know, have the Crate be the good guys and Naga be the bad guys. I don't know. The Mersat, you know, maybe bring them back, have them cause some trouble, because you know they were the epitome of evil in the first in Guild Wars Prophecy. Like I said, Guild Wars 1, the base professions were Monk, Ranger, Warrior, Elementalist, Necromancer, and Mesmer. Guild Wars 2 adds in the Guardian, Engineer, Thief, and now coming soon the Revenant, but it takes out the Monk. I know a lot of players that were friends of mine that they love playing the Monk. I think some of them actually played. I think one really good friend of mine. I can't remember his username right off the top of my head, but he actually played a Monk / Necromancer, so he had the best of life and death. And in Guild Wars 1, if you played a Monk and you cast a healing spell on an undead enemy, it would do extra damage. And I thought that was, you know, granted, like any RPG, that, you know, it kind of went without saying. But and maybe the Grawl. I'd like to see. I kind of like to see the Grawl as a playable race. I think that'd be kind of interesting. You know, just to flesh out the monkey people a little bit more, and see what went around there. But yeah, like I said, it'd be interesting to see some of the stuff that's coming about, and I really look forward to seeing what else is coming in Guild Wars 2. Just out of curiosity, like I said, I mean they already got one new race coming out, or no one new profession. I'm sorry, and I really like to see what's going to become of the Revenant, and I look forward to playing a Revenant myself. So these are just my insights, and like I said, when it comes to dungeon runs, I'm going to start at the beginning with Ascalon Catacombs. I'm going to unlock all the other dungeons that go along with it, and I'm not going to record the actual gameplay, but I am going to record the storyline for it, the cutscenes, cinematics, whatever you want to call them. So you can see, you know, Doc Matt here talking to whatever character just happens to be there, and or whatever NPCs happen to be there, and yeah. So we'll hopefully bring Doc Matt's storyline to a close. But I really want to start with the Ascalon Catacombs simply because that starts basically the second half of the player story. Like you got the personal story in itself, but then there's a secondary story that goes along the line, or a second storyline that goes along with it. That is the members of Destiny's Edge, sorting out their differences, reforming, and then helping your character in the final battle against Zaitan. And I think it just make more sense to, bring that in, show that as well, so that, if people are actually following the storyline, be like, hey, where the fuck these guys come from? So, yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking forward to, or what I'm trying to do. But, yeah, with that being said, if you guys like what you're seeing, hit that like, punch that subscribe button right square in its face, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!